Give me a second. Copy invite link. Give me a second. Copy invite link. And I might have been kicked out. Let's see. Too many darn screens to keep track of here. No, I wasn't kicked out. Here we go. Too many darn screens to keep track of here. All right, well, that's my Zoom, but this is the stream. All right, well, that's my Zoom, but this is the stream. All right, so I am live on the other site. I'm going to close this one down. The chat should be there, and I'm going to post it in my community. There. So I am live. Gotta go here. Close this one down. The chat should be there, and I'm going to post it in my community. Okay. So I'm waiting for everybody to come back over here. All right. Shows that I'm live on YouTube. Do we have reach there? Started streaming 2 minutes ago. Do we have anybody coming over from the other live stream? And again, I apologize. Come on over. Okay, yes, this is the live stream, Jennifer. There is a lag time. Thank you for being here. All right. Just waiting for a few more people to come on. And I really apologize for that, but it's really, sharing the screen is really important, and seeing the presentation is very, very important. Okay. These lives are always tricky. So I know I've got two here. Larry. Let's get you here. All right, so I see I have a few people here. Please be patient. Please be patient. And I want to share this. Okay, hey, Manuel. Nice to see you. Love and light to you too, bro. All right, let's see. Let's share this. Hopefully I'll get everybody back. Okay, I'm going to just start. Thank you for being here. Again, my name is Anne Marie Morales. I just had the beautiful opportunity of going to Egypt, and I wanted to share my realizations to get there. First of all, the tour that I went with was first class. I heard about this trip over a year ago, and it was organized by Abby Lynn in my disclosure community. And as soon as I heard about it and the opportunity to travel with like-minded people, I was like, I'm going. I don't care. You know, this was a year and a half ago. And I thought, well, maybe mom will go and, you know, I can travel without. Mom is still around. She is 99 years old and everything went perfectly. She was good and happy and safe, and my mind was rested the entire trip. I did not worry at all. I handed it all over to God. I said, you know, just take care of my mom, take care of everything. And everything worked out beautifully. So this tour was so well done. The tour guide, so Egypt is a military state. It is not just a government, a harsh government, it's a military state. So everything is regulated. You need permits for everything. And we had to have military escorts in places, government escorts in places. We were never alone. This tour guide worked so hard. His name was Maher Hag. He's Egyptian who lives in England and has like 3 and 4 degrees and is working on his PhD and is profoundly spiritual, even being a devout Muslim. So while we were there, it was the very end of Ramadan. So during the day, everybody fasted, and at night, everybody ate. And the way he described it to us was it was Thanksgiving for a whole month, a big Thanksgiving dinner, family, service to others. The Egyptian people were amazing. Yeah, we did have, you know, the called them the Valley of Vendors, you know, where they would come and lady, buy this, you know, $5, $10, $5, you know, they would get to us. But he prepped us on how to behave. He prepped us on what to do. We needed potty money because there you have to pay them when you go. You get a little bit of toilet tissue. There's always somebody maintaining the toilet, which is, you can call it maintaining the toilet. Some of them were pretty sketchy, but you know, it was what it was. So this was an incredible journey, and we were there for 2 whole weeks. We started our trip in Cairo. We took 2 airplane trips. We flew to Luxor, which is like midway down the Nile, and went on a barge, a wooden barge pulled by a tugboat further up the Nile. So the Nile runs from south to north and ends up in the Mediterranean Sea. So we picked up this barge midway and then went south but it was up the Nile, all the way down to the city of Aswan, which is very close to the Sudanese border, the border with Sudan. And that was the land of the, oh goodness, what is the name of them? It will come to me. Nubians, the land of the Nubians. So you physically saw different features in the Egyptians. That was the land of gold. This is where the granite quarries were, where they cut out the pyramids. I didn't put that photograph in the presentation, but I'll post that on social media so you guys can see that. Incredible, makes you purely wonder. And this guide, what he did is he showed us things that you cannot figure out how it happened, right, without some knowledge. So let me go ahead and begin to share this presentation with you. And so you should be seeing, let me see what you guys are seeing. All right. So you should be seeing my slideshow for Hathor. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it to play. Hopefully it will show, and I'm just waiting for the lag time to see what it looks like. All right. I'm just going to escape and we're going to do it this way so I can keep track of both of you. All right, so the first experience that I had was one of the first temples that we went to, and it was the Temple of Hathor. Now, Hathor is a half woman, a humanoid cow. So she is depicted with, and I have her rattle here in front of me. I have her rattle. She is depicted with a kind of oblong shaped head and cow ears. And her function is mothering, naturing, sustenance, one of the premier goddesses. So this picture that you should be seeing here is a picture of me and the guide Maher. So here is me, here is Maher. And in this shot, which Lily Nova captured, in that shot, it's me literally like blah, telling him all the downloads that I got immediately from walking onto this land. So when I first went to the Temple of Hathor, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt with every cell of my being that I had a full lifetime here. Not only was it a full lifetime, but it also was my happiest incarnation, because all I did was, I was a not a Vestal Virgin. What do you want to call it? I was a servant in this temple for my whole life. And I was absolutely the happiest. That's all I did was worship, take care of the temple, live in the temple. I knew it with every single fiber of my being. And this is the outside of the temple. You can notice in these pictures that the faces of Hathor were hacked away. Well, that's because these temples were taken over by other religions, if you will, and those religions, you know, didn't want those gods represented to be there. So I'd like to get a little hello from you guys. Just go ahead in the chat. I'm looking at the chat. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave the questions for me. All right, so the next slide I want to show you is the inside, and I'm sorry about this, but this is the inside view and the only face of Hathor that was not defaced. So you can see she's got these little cow ears. She's got a fat, kind of wide, oblong face. And, you know, the structures are beyond the beyond, truly beyond the beyond. I wonder what I can do. Presenter view. Do I like that? Let's see what happened there, if that makes a difference. Let me escape out of that. Let me try if I could do play from current slide and see what happens. All right, I'm just not going to play. It is what it is. All right. So this was the only face of Hathor that was not destroyed. These columns were incredible. Just the size, the scale of these works. They were, I mean, otherworldly. One of the things that I knew was what was Atlantean versus what was Egyptian. So I am also a part of a Law of One study group. And in the Law of One, it talks about the timeline of who created the pyramids. It's incredible. I am no scholar. I don't claim to be a scholar, but I felt what was, I would say, more in the human construction. And this, I can tell you, was human construction, but with technology that we are not aware of today. There were some construction that were not human construction. I don't cover it in this presentation, but definitely there was. Here's just another one of the interior halls. And there's these marks over here. I don't know if you can see my pointer, but there was burning in here. Now, apparently all this was covered under years of Nile flooded sediment. So these chambers were dug out. These temples were dug out. It's extremely fascinating. Let me pop over to Google and see what's going over there. I can't see. There we go. No audio. Are you hearing me at all? Is anybody hearing me? Testing, testing, gamer boy. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I can hear myself, hon. It's working now. Okay, great. All right. So this picture that you're seeing, and again, sorry, so sorry about the text. Let's delete that. Let's delete that. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the oldest known zodiac calendar. And this was found in the temple of Isis. Can I zoom in? Maybe. See if I can zoom in. But it has the first representations of the zodiac calendar. And that was on the ceiling in this temple, which was absolutely mind-blowing. And also in this temple, there's this very famous hieroglyph, which looks kind of like electric light bulb. And did we see the hieroglyphs where it showed the spaceship and the helicopter and the boat? Yes, we did. I did not include it in here. I wish I had more time to present, but there's a reason why I don't want to reveal everything. So yeah, this was very important. This figure right here is representative. There's a name for it. To me, this is our chakra system. This represents the chakras, this being the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. Okay, next, Hatshepsut. Now, before I went, I got the download. The word Hatshepsut was downloaded into my head. And I thought, that's interesting. Now, Hatshepsut was a pharaoh, and she was a very successful pharaoh, and she was known for her funerary temple. So our trip to the Hatshepsut site began here. This was presented to us as just being on the side of the road, not a big deal. Maher said, I don't really feel a lot of energy here. So it was kind of like, we're just going to stop, just to stop. But y'all, when I got out of here and I went to the side of these colossal statues right here, okay, when I got right there, I lost it. I was shaking. I was channeling. It was so very powerful. And I got that the chair. I wasn't getting anything from these dudes. I was getting it from the chair. Interestingly enough, the hieroglyphic symbol for Isis is the chair. So Isis is like Hathor is like the big mother goddess. Isis is another version of Hathor, also a winged being, and her symbol is the chair. And so these are the throne. These thrones were giving me so much activation. And while I was here in front of this throne, this exact throne, getting all my downloads, the word purification came into my head. And purification, I went right over to Maher and I was like, this is incredible. I was like getting all these downloads. And I said, the word purification came into my head. And he said, yes, Anne Marie, purification. This is the journey of the purification of the body, ending up at the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. So my eyes got about as big as saucers. My jaw dropped. So this, I knew again, I had a complete knowledge and knowing of what this place was. This is me in front of the Hathor's temple. I was so excited to be there. I was just biting at the bit. I was listening to everything. Here is just an example of the beautiful, beautiful hieroglyphs, the colors. So these were all offerings. Okay, so they showed their offerings to the gods. All of these temples that we went through were the god or the pharaoh offering themselves, being purified in order to be worthy enough to receive the Ankh, which is life. And so one of the things that they did was also show their offerings to the gods on the walls, scenes of daily life, etc. Incredibly beautiful. So here it is, the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut. I had no idea what this was. While I was there and I walked up and in, I got the download. Here's another view. So we're not talking that these places are close. Those big colossal statues, we needed to get back in the bus and drive another 15 minutes to get to the parking lot to where we could even get near these temples. And some people walked, other people took the little golf carts. And so the download that I got about this place, let me put this picture back, was that if you think about in birth, what do we do when a child is born? We lovingly clean the body, right? So from birth now to death, what was the mummification process? It was a cleansing of the body, a preservation of the body. So from birth now to death, the bodies, and this, the way I saw this, in the download that I was getting. Let me just go ahead and take a peek real quick. All right. You guys are still doing good. All right, beautiful. So the download that I got about this process was this. The pharaohs, the big dudes, they got their own temple. The everyday didn't get their own temple. This was the everyday man or woman's end of life process. Okay. And the way I saw it was not dry and arid like this picture. I saw it fully lush and green with plants and fruits and throngs of people. Throngs of people. Right now, I don't know how many millions of people. Certainly, there were not millions of people living here in the now moment, but I saw billions of people here, throngs of people, just living, working, serving, doing their everyday. And this was the end of the line for the everyday person. And it was the completion of the cycle of life. So, like I said, I got the download that the birth, when we birth a human being, we lovingly clean it. And now that the body has died, there was this loving funerary process. And so you would go, and there's a lot of symbolism to how the buildings are created. It's an elevative process. You're elevating up into heaven or the afterlife. Were the people happy? Absolutely. I can tell you my life, I was very happy. We need to really think about what we have learned, and really take everything with a grain of salt, because I'm sure that there were wars. I'm sure there were, but the everyday person, and if you think about it, the only parallels that I could think of nowadays is people who belong to like religious orders or monks, even Tibetan monks, those people who take their lives and are totally and completely devoted to their worship. And they're the happiest people. Okay, they are the happiest people. So I believe that, I know for a fact that my life in the Hathor Temple was a very happy life. Now, a friend of mine, Rosemary Godden, I was doing a regression with her, and she was a priestess in a temple, and I was the keeper of cats. So I texted her, and I think she's in Bali right now, which is way the hell on the other side of the globe. And I was wondering if if it was Hathor's temple or a temple of Isis or something along those lines. So anyway, I believe that they were very happy. And so finally, the download was that the soul, and we hear about this through people who are mediums and what have you, the soul didn't leave the body yet. And one of the beautiful things about the tops of these temples is that they're all stars, and the stars look like starfish. It's kind of eerie, weird, but their representation of stars of the heavens um, were on the roofs or on the ceilings of these temples. So finally, the soul was traveling with the body throughout the funerary process. And if you notice in the back here, you could see the steps going up. Well, there's two further chambers within, and the oldest part of the temple is actually inside the mountain. So these doors, the Holy of Holies, and the reason why the doors were so narrow is because that was the end of the line, and that's where they took the body. And finally, the soul, which in hieroglyphics is the word is Ka, K-A, and it's represented by just hands across and up like this. No head, no body, just hands in the shape. Okay. The Ka would finally leave. Now, that was my download. Take it for what you will. Take it for what you will. So was there any poverty, crime, etc., or was it sort of a utopian community? You know, I can only say, like I said, I'm not a scholar. I can just give you the download that I had and equating what I felt, especially in the Hathor temple. All of society was based on service, and it was all based on love. Uh, duality, I'm sure existed. Is there good and bad? I'm sure it existed. I can only tell you what I experienced. And like I said, I'm not a scholar of this. I'm just here to offer you my experience. Hi, Deborah. How you doing, sweetheart? Good to see you. Um, love from Michigan. You know, Deborah, I grew up in Michigan, right? I was born and raised in Dearborn. I am a Dearborn girl. My dad worked for Ford Motor Company, and yeah, that is where I am from. So we're getting down to the end of the presentation. Let me show you this view again of the temple. You can see in this view how there are 3 levels. And of course, everything is metaphorical as well, as you're elevating up and up and up to attain God status or eternal life status. There was so much more. We did something spectacular every single day. It is way too much for me to relay to you guys. I did want to share a couple of other things that I thought were really beautiful. This is a picture of a sculpture during the Akhenaten period from the old Egyptian temple, the old Museum of Cairo. Sorry about that. We've seen these before, my friends. These are the elongated skulls. I believe there was a time where, yes, other beings certainly walked amongst us as humans. And of course, Akhenaten is portrayed with the skulls and the odd-looking body. This was the boat that we were on. And here it has its sails flying. It was really tugged by a tugboat. So itself, this boat itself does not have engines on it. and there was plenty of room to spread out and to read. One of the places that we went to was Abydos, and Abydos was the temple of Osiris. So there was a hierarchy to the Egyptian deity, but these temples, this particular temple, so the legend is that Osiris was murdered by his brother Set. Okay. And his body was chopped up into like 12 pieces, and 11 of them landed on the earth. In Abydos was where his head landed. And so his temple of Osiris is there. This book, The Search for Seti, I had never heard of this until I got to this town of Abydos. And Seti, translated, means mother of Seti. Now, this book, which I have here with me, is about a woman named, oh, for goodness sake, she was Dorothy, and she was born in 1904, Dorothy Louise Eady, E-A-D-Y. And she was born January 16th in 1904. I highly, highly, highly recommend, and I stopped the share. I highly, highly, highly recommend reading this book, Seti. It explains a lot more about the Egyptian deity hierarchy. It talks about this woman's life. Now, she was born in 1904 in a British family. She fell down a flight of steps when she was a kid, like 6 or 5 or 6. And when she fell down that flight of steps, we believe she was had like an NDE. And when she came back with this knowledge of ancient Egypt. It's an incredible story. I'm not going to give it away too much, but Seti is a pharaoh, okay? The father of Ramses II. So these are biblical names that we know about, okay? Seti was a pharaoh whose son was Ramses II, who became pharaoh after him. Seti built the temple at Abydos, Egypt, the temple to Osiris, okay, one of the main gods. Seti, so this woman actually was a reincarnation of a young girl who Seti, the pharaoh, fell in love with. It's a fascinating story. I'm not going to get too far in there, but I just recommend you reading this book. It's fascinating, and it talks about how throughout Dorothy Eady's life, Seti the pharaoh would manifest in human form and visit her. Who else do we know that manifested in human form? Jesus manifested in human form after his death. So I just found it fascinating. There's also a very interesting description about Set, the Egyptian god, that I'll have to talk about at a separate time, because there are some people I need to talk to first about the story. But if you get this book and read it, boy, it was fascinating. I read it on this trip. I highly, highly recommend. It ties into the secret space program. ties into a story that I'm very, very familiar with, mentioning Set. So if you are familiar with the story of Set in the Secret Space Program, you might know what I'm talking about. All right, my friends. Oh yes, Gamer Boy, loads in Malta. The elongated skulls. Yes, they were found all over the world, all over the world. And so, listen, our history has been manipulated and altered. Oh, my friend Rosemary texted me. Let's see what she has to say. She's not sure if she wrote it down. Darn, I was hoping she would find out that it was there. All right. So anywho, so I read that there are some interesting correlations between Jesus and the Egyptian legends. Yes, there are. And it actually comes out because what she did, Dorothy Eady, was she basically worshiped the ancient Egyptian gods. And she was brought up in a Christian country in England and went to Christian school. And she was like, this story of the virgin birth is actually the same story of Osiris, Isis, and their son Horus. She's like, this has happened before. So yeah, it's very interesting that it is correlated with that. And also, not just Egyptian, but Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is also an extremely ancient religion that has the same concept of a virgin birth. So the deal with Horus is that Horus died and was killed, and his wife became magically impregnated after his death. So that's where that comes from. All right, my friends, oh, well, now that you have gotten to the end, what's really super exciting, and one of the reasons why I didn't want to talk too much about this, is that on the second day that I was there, the organizer, the guide, Maher, he said to me, Anne Marie, I would love to work with you. I would love to do a tour with you. And I just was like, yes, yes. So keep it in the back of your mind. We are 2025, 26, probably in 2027. I will be leading my own tour, and you can experience the same thing I experienced with me and with a hypnotherapeutic spin. And there were plenty of times to do spiritual things, and especially because of that beautiful boat, there was a lot of times we did lots of spiritual things while we were there. And it was absolutely lovely. So that is it for me. If you're interested, just contact me. Of course, we're in baby stages. We haven't even had a meeting yet, but my hope is that a lot of people who are familiar with the Law of One will come from my spiritual communities and experience the same thing. Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer. Love you so much. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, hi, my love, my girl, Mountain Fairy. I love you. Okay, my beautiful Pleiadian daughter. All right, my friends, that's it. I love you all. Take care. And yes, I'm going to be doing more things online now that I've come back from Egypt. And love to you all. And of course, you know, these downloads, these I mean, I haven't even talked about the experiences in the in the Great Pyramid. That was otherworldly for sure. Okay, my friends, I love you all, and please reach out, keep in touch. Thank you. And where am I here? Let's end this.